What is up, guys? Archon tonight. I'm going to bring you guys another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the new patch for Battlegrounds, which is a big one since it includes the new archetype dragon, as well as a bunch of new dragon type heroes. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start breaking this down a bit. Galakrond is the first one, and he has Galakrond's Greed. Replace a minion in Bob's Tavern with a minion from a higher tier tavern. So basically what this is you get to pick a minion in Bob's Tavern, and you get to upgrade it to the next level of Tavern tier. So what you can do with Galakrond is you can actually, from level 1, depending on what you could actually get a token, let's say. You get a token start, you sell the token, use Galakrond's Agreed on one of the other two cards inside the tavern, and then kind of build your setup around having a tier 1 build for a bit. And then after 6 turns have passed, or 5 turns, because then you get, your 6 cost then turn 5, you can then play a 6 tier minion. It sounds really strong, it really does. Like, it dominates the early to mid game because having a 6 that early on, especially if you get something like Mama Bear and you're running and you're getting rat packs afterwards at tier 2 or and then tier 3 you get other things. Like, you can easily just run a game over with early game beasts. It just allows for so many different early game strategies. And then obviously late game it's no slouch either, because if you end up with like a 5 on your first roll and you want to go to 6 to try to find something, you at least guarantee yourself at least 1 6 per turn. So I mean, Galakrond has a lot of upside, I believe. It'll be interesting to see like what strategies come out with him. But with that out of the way, Deathwing's up next. He has the hero passive. All minions have +3 attack. This includes obviously your opponent as well. So obviously I would say that Deathwing is probably going to be really good in decks that run tokens, if that makes sense. Like Rat Pack would be a really good one. Mechs could also be a really good one since they have the 3/1 magnetic that lets you spawn 1/1s when it dies. There's so much synergy with tokens and Deathwing. I would be surprised if that doesn't become his dominant playstyle. Dream Portal is up next for Ysera. Her hero power becomes refresh and add a dragon to Bob's Tavern. So it's kind of like Toki, except for instead of pulling something from an upper tier, you guarantee yourself a dragon instead. I'm kind of interested to see how strong the dragon cards are. That'll be a better judge of how well Ysera will do. Nor's Damu, Clairvoyance, or Nor's Dormu. Passive hero power, your first refresh each turn costs 0. So that's really big. Having your first hero power, or having your first refresh rather, cost 0 gold, allows you to go to Tavern Tier 2, refresh your board, and get the first pick of potential minions from Tier 2. This also would work for any tier upgrade as well. If you want to pick up and level up to 3 right away, you can level up to 3, hit your refresh button, and then get to see all your level 3 minions. Anything there that you want, you can freeze. If not, you can let it go and try to get something better. So Dormu gets a lot of, I would say, support in first pick. So archetypes like Murlocs would be really good with Nose Dormu, I would imagine. I could easily see that because what happens with Murlocs is since a lot of their cards are locked behind 3, 4, and 5, it seems like, you end up getting wrecked if you don't level up right away because everybody else beats you to those cards, and since it's a limited card pool, you end up falling way behind. I think Nose Dormu could be good for Murlocs potentially. Malagos. Arcane Alteration. Hero power, replace a minion with a random one of the same tavern tier. This one's not bad, I wouldn't say. Early game, I don't see it being insanely good. It does cost 0, so there's really no downside to doing it if you're just looking for an archetype setup. And you're just kind of fishing on like a 3 or a 4. You still have to level up, obviously, to get the benefit of, upper tier minions. Unlike Galakrond, who doesn't have to do that. So, Malagos will be kind of interesting, and there's a bunch of minions within the same pool now, I believe, since the dragons got added. So it'll be a little harder to pick and choose which minions you want, or try to pull which minion you want. Alexstrasza. Passive hero power. Queen of the Dragons. After you upgrade Bob's Tavern to Tavern Tier 5, discover 2 dragons. Sounds pretty good. Since you get to pick 2 dragons. It obviously doesn't say what rank the dragons are, what tier level the dragons are, so they could probably be anywhere from 1 to 6. So I think this isn't bad. It has synergy. It's just really RNG dependent, I would imagine. I think they said they added 18 new cards or 18 new dragons to the battlegrounds. That sounds interesting. Gonna be rich. Make a friendly minion gold once per game. So basically, once per game, you get to choose when you get a tavern tier upgrade card. So if you go to 5 and you don't get any triples, you can actually force a triple. I kind of like that. I think that it's not insanely overpowered because you still have to level up your tavern tiers. There's still going to be a playstyle to it. I don't think it's overpowered. It does cost 4. I think only being able to use it once per game and it being a 4 cost hero power is a little much. Like, I know some gold minions are really strong, like active effect ones, like Khadgar can be really strong, or Braun can be really strong. But I don't think 4 cost is really for a once in a game hero power. I don't think that's necessary. I'd put it at maybe like 3. But I guess by the time you use it, if you're using it on Braun to increase your board presence, then you probably are way ahead anyway. Kind of like a win more power, I would imagine. New Battlegrounds minions. So we've got a dragon, a 1 tavern 1, 2/3 dragon spawn lieutenant. So now we have something else that can actually go up against the 2/4 demon taunt. This and Rockpool Hunter were pretty good against that card. They were the only. These will be the only 2 cards I would imagine that can probably tie in the early rounds with it. Red Whelp. Start of combat, deal 1 damage per friendly dragon to 1 random enemy minion. I think that Red Whelp, if you stayed at 1 and you just happen to get all of the Red Whelps like right out the gate, would be a pretty insane setup. Could you imagine having like 4 or 5 Red Whelps? I'm sure it upgrades to 2 once it's golden, 2 damage per friendly dragon, and you have 7 of them, so you're dealing 14 damage per Red Whelp. And if you had all Red Whelps, and they were all, could you imagine getting like all golden Whelps? I don't even know if there's enough common Whelps for you to even do that, but that'd be insane. That would be what, 14 times 7. So 7 times 4 is 28. Drop the 8. That would be 98 damage. You would deal 98 total damage over the entire board if you could somehow pull that off. Like I said, I don't know if it's possible, but it'd still be something fun to play around with in the early game. So Glyph Guardian, whenever this attacks, double its attack. So dragon buffs are going to be really big for this card because it's only get to 4 attack. That means you have an 8/4. That's a pretty strong attack at Tavern Tier 2. Usually it's not going to trade with too much and die, unless they're being buffed out of their mind early on. Whenever you sell this minion, give all minions in Bob's Tavern +1/+1. The power doesn't sound strong, but if you use it early on and can sell it early on and, keep flooding the board, it's almost like having a discount Sir Finley or not Sir Finley Mergleton, but Dancing Daryl. It's almost like having a Daryl hero power, except for it hits all minions and, doesn't do it twice. Like I said, it's a discount Daryl, essentially. Wax Raider Toggle Woggle. Whenever a friendly dragon kills an enemy, gain +2/+2. I imagine if you get a golden version of this, it's probably +4/+4. It has no affinity, so it'll probably really be good in Dragon Tyrion, I would imagine, because their Tyrion can buff it up to whatever ungodly levels he buffs cards to that don't have an affiliation. So they're adding the Unstable Ghoul as well. Death Rattle deal 1 damage to all minions. Ghoul being at 2 sounds pretty good since everybody usually levels up at 2 on the second turn anyway. It would be really good against most Murlocs, I would imagine. Because if you kill the Unstable Ghoul with Murlocs, you blow up the board and kill all of their ghouls. It could be really good against some of the beasts early on as well, too. Like Alley Cat if they're running tokens. Probably just really good against tokens in general. You could put him at the end of your lineup. If you were fighting a team that's running, like they said, the mech tokens or Rat Pack or something, and then the Rat Packs get popped, you could use it to counter tokens. So it's going to be a really powerful tech card, I would imagine. You could even use it as like a discount Nefarian hero power if somebody's running Murlocs with Divine Shield Poisonous to kind of even the playing field a bit. You give up an extra minion slot for it, but in most cases they're giving up an extra minion slot as well if they're still running Brawn. They're not going to be able to have like all poisonous minions. They're going to have one buff slot as well. So you're going to be even going into them if you somehow have more attack than they do. So you can just run over the Murlocs, and in most cases you'll just have to tie with them. There's really no way to beat poisonous Murlocs with Divine Shield outside of having them yourself. Or I guess having the Unstable Ghoul. You can at least tie. Bronze Warden is a 3-cost minion. Divine Shield Reborn. Whenever this minion dies, it'll obviously reborn with Divine Shield, so it has basically 4 attacks it can do within a fight sequence at the least amount. Angry Dragon. At the start of your turn, gain +2/+2 if you won the last combat. So it's more of a win more card. If you're losing, you probably don't want this card, I would imagine, unless you can buff it with cards beforehand to help get you on a winning streak so you guys can keep buffing them. Dracnoid Enforcer is coming as well. He is a tier 4. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain +2/+2. So basically he's a better Bolvar? Sounds interesting. I'm pretty sure, does Bolvar get 2/2 or does Bolvar get 1/1 with Divine Shield is lost? Huh. That's really weird. And I'm pretty sure, is Bolvar in the 4-cost as well? Or is he a 3-cost? I'm trying to remember because I really don't see a lot of Bolvars. Not sure why I never see Bolvar, but anyway, the next dragon up is Herald of Flame. Overkill. Deal 3 damage to the leftmost enemy minion. So depending on your opponent's board, you may want to set him up further to the right so he has a better chance of hitting something weaker at the end of the turn, like a token. Like, he would also be really good against tokens, essentially what I'm getting at, because you'd overkill a token for a lot of damage, and then you'd get to deal 3 damage as well. So basically, if you do that, he's an 8/4 worth of damage. Maybe more if the token doesn't get buffed by Mama Bear or Pack Leader. Cobalt Scalebane is next. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +3 attack. He's like he was in the original card game. He sounds strong if you can win more. Only this time it's guaranteed to at least give you +3 attack no matter what. Can't be, polymorphed on turn 4 and removed from the board. So you'll at least get some value from him. And he's a 5/5 body, which isn't too bad in the mid game. Murozond. Add a minion from your last opponent's warband to your hand. That's interesting. I mean, it's no Arc Thief Rafam, but it's pretty close to Rafam. You get 1 card for a 5-tier minion. So basically, it's 5/5, 5-tier Battlecry. Add 1 gold perhaps to your hand, or maybe even add a gold card to your hand if you get lucky and pick the triple that you need. Next up, we have the Twilight Emissary. Battlecry. Give it friendly dragon +3/+3. It's actually not too bad. 6/8 worth of stats. Dragon, so it can get dragon buffs. And it gives a friendly dragon +3/+3. Pretty powerful dragon, I'd say. At the end of your turn, gain +1/+1 for each dragon you have. So I could easily see Razor Gore getting out of hand, especially with cards like Cobalt Scalebane being there. Plus, Razor Gore can also benefit from dragon buffs. He's not a neutral legendary, unlike the other card. It's Tavern Tier 2 that gains +1/+1 for dragons. So, yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting card to get to at 5, for sure. Murlocs are now getting a 6-cost card outside of the Megasaur. After another friendly Murloc loses Divine Shield, gain Divine Shield. I do not like this card. I do not like this card at all. Because what is going to end up happening is this card will solo carry a fight, potentially. So you'll put him in your first slot. He will also benefit from the not Thresh Down, but the Megasaur's Poisonous Divine Shield or whatever strategy. Actually, you could probably just go Poisonous Wind Fury for him, if you could get it. and then have a Murloc be in front of him with Poisonous Divine Shield. It loses Divine Shield. He comes in next, attacks. Maybe you wouldn't want Wind Fury, just because he would lose the Divine Shield unless it's going to hit something with weak attack. But, you know, Poisonous, gaining Divine Shield is a big deal. That's why the 3-cost Cobalt Guardian is so strong. Because it can gain Divine Shield and lose Divine Shield and gain Divine Shield and lose it. And it's a big body, because it benefits from, you know, mech buffs, which can get out of hand really quick. Being that Metaltooth Leaper is a 2-cost card. So I'm sure with the right buffs, this is just, it's kind of more of a win more card as well. But I think that it could also be a good combat card, depending on your setup. Even if you don't get the Divine Shield for it, if you get it on your other minions beforehand, let's say you get a Megasaur at 6, give your other minions Divine Shield Poisonous, and you have to use a Toxic Fin to give this guy Poisonous, you could easily put him, like I said, in behind a Divine Shield Murloc, and then when it loses Divine Shield, you know, this card will get it, and then it'll attack, lose it, and then next card will attack, lose it, and he'll get it back. And it just kind of functions like that. And then if he gets hit again, let's say from the enemy minion, the next minion up attacks, loses it, you just win. It's pretty crazy. And even if you can't get Poisonous on all your Murlocs and just Divine Shield alone, this card could probably carry your entire game. Imp Mama is up next, a new 6-cost demon. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a random demon and give it taunt. That doesn't sound as good as you would think it would, because the demons that we have in the game are the 2/4. We have Imp Gang Boss. We do have the Imprisoner at 3/3, which is actually not too bad of a card. I mean, I guess if you're running Soul Juggler, this card would be pretty good because then it would protect your Soul Juggler from damage, and it would also be giving you free 6 damage per attack. But there's the demon body that you're gonna get is just not gonna be huge in most cases, unless they've added something else for a 6-cost demon. Nope, doesn't look like it. Oh, it'll be interesting to see the synergy with Soul Juggler. Like I said, it could get out of hand, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I just can't see them being that good just due to the fact that they're not going to be a big body demon. Like, if you get the Battle Master, it's not going to have the Battle Cry, so it's going to be a 3/1, essentially. Caligos Arcane Aspect is the next 6 cost. After you play a minion with Battle Cry, give your dragons +1/+1. I could see that being pretty good, especially with Razor Gore here. If you could keep getting the Taunt Dragon, which gives your other dragons +3/+3, and keep funneling him as a buff card, yeah, this could actually get out of hand pretty quick as well. Razor Gore would be getting +2/+2, and if you're actually buffing Razor Gore with this, he'd be getting +5/+5 for each one of those combos that you pull off. And that's a really spiky Razor Gore. He'd be a really big boy. Nadia the Red, Death Rattle, give your dragons Divine Shield. That sounds pretty good too. So you could use Caligos, and like I said, use the other combo, buff up your Razor Gore, have somehow get a hold of Nadia the Red, and give, you know, Razor Gore Divine Shield, and now he gets a free strike into a poisonous Murloc. He won't win you the game, but in most cases, if you get an unstable goal as a tech card, you could actually have Razor Gore potentially trade for 2 Murlocs instead of just 1, which I think would be a really good power spike. Yeah, I think the Dragon cards have a lot of good synergy here. So before we go down and look at the hero changes, let's go ahead and give a final verdict on a lot of the minions. I think the Dragon archetype has a lot of potential. It has a lot of power, and it's win more at 6. So you're going to want to get to 5, 6. I think there's a lot of good cards there. Like I said, Twilight Emissary I think could be a little overpowered, just because the taunt plus the 3/3 for a dragon. I know it's a 5-cost card, or not 5 cost, but Tavern Tier 5. Hold on a second. I get the feeling that that card could be really strong. Cobalt Scalebane, it's not as good as I think it would be in like a normal constructed setup. But on Battlegrounds, you're at least guaranteed to always get the +3 attack as long as he's on the board. So it's still a good scaling card. Dragonoid Enforcer could be really good with Nadina the Red. And the fact that if you were running an all dragon board 7 cards, he gets +14/+14. And depending if he's golden, he'll probably get double that, so it'll be +28/+28. Not too bad of a deal. So anyway, dragons will be really good. Murlocs have another win more card. Demons really, I guess they got Imp Mama, and that's it, right? Yeah, that's it for them. They just got a 6 cost card finally. They removed Void Lord a while back from the 6 cost slot because it wasn't doing what it needed to do. Imp Mama is a question mark for me. I feel like it could be really good. Maybe if you're running the Soul Juggler combo and you can get 2 golden Soul Jugglers, I could see some pretty good power coming from that. But again, you'd have to be up against a token setup, otherwise it's just going to get ran over. There's not a whole lot of demon buffs. I mean, yeah, there's the guy that gives you +2/+2, and the crystal guy that gives you +1/+1 for all demons. But that's just way too slow scaling, especially at 6. I just don't see that being viable because you're pulling from other tavern tiers at that point. You're pulling from all the tiers, and the odds of getting him specifically are going to be relatively low, I would imagine. So demons didn't really get a whole lot, but I still think demons will be insanely strong, just like they were before this patch. They probably won't be the dominant class anymore. I could see Murloc being bumped up, actually having Holy Mackerel. I think dragons, in theory, could be really strong as well. And having Razor Gore just be the funnel engine, as well as, sorry, nodding out of the red, giving your dragon's divine shield when it dies. Even Caligos could be really good if you're running all dragons, like I said, because whenever you play the battle cry, you get +1/+1 for all your dragons. So, you know, you're playing a dragon battle cry, everything gets +1/+1. There's a lot of, it's kind of like demons. It reminds me a little bit of the demon engine in a way, with like Wraith Weaver and what's his name, the Floating Watcher. So we'll have to keep an eye on dragons. I'm sure they might get, maybe hot fixed along the way. We'll see what their win rate is. Anyways, Battlegrounds changes. Uh, Boon of Light is moving from 4 cost to 3 cost. King George actually has a really good hero power. Personally, I like it because if you have King George, or George the Fallen rather, you can actually make the Murloc strategy work and not even need to get to 6. You can sit at 5, get your, I think what, King Begurgles, and then you can use Toxic Fin to buff your Murlocs. I tend to see a lot of Toxic Fin when I'm at 4. I don't know if it's just me. I know some cards like Cold Light Seer tend to just disappear at 3 for me and I never find them. But I always find Toxic Fins. So you could actually set up and do a discount for 3 cost a turn. You could set up your own Poisonous Murlocs. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Plus the other synergies that exist. Needs Old Shredder, move from tier 6 to tier 5. I think this is actually a really good change. Sneeds isn't a 6-tier card, kind of like Doomlord or whatever wasn't a 6-tier card. The one that summons 3 Voidwalkers for the demons. That wasn't a 6-tier card either. I think this is the only other card to ever be removed from the tier 6 tavern, right? That and the Doomlord one? I could be wrong. Let me know down below. I think those are the only 2 cards so far. Everything else is sat at 6. So Mama Bear, old, +4/+4. Whenever you summon a beast, give it +4/+4. New, 5/5 Mama Bear. Beast, whenever you summon a beast, give it +5/+5. So I think they reverted the changes that they made to Mama Bear. I'm not sure why, especially with Deathwing being a thing. I think Beast could get out of hand with, like I said, Deathwing. I talked about it before, and Token Beast especially would benefit from Deathwing. That might be his go-to build. Yeah, Mama Bear back to being Mama Bear. Tavern Tier 6. Starting cost of Tavern Tier 6 has been reduced to 10 gold, down from 11. So Tavern Tier 6 has a lot of exciting minions, and we'd like players to have more of an opportunity to reach it than they have. We're also trying to make Tavern Tier 6 more interesting by adding some of these new powerful minions. Yeah, we'll see how long this lasts. I am glad that they're making it 10 gold, so now you can, if you are winning on the board or you're facing a ghost and you're at 5, and you think that you can beat the ghost, you can now go straight to 6 instead of having to wait a turn because 11 gold doesn't exist in the game. I think this is a good change. Removed heroes. Professor Putricide. We'd like to go back to the drawing board with Putricide. We're going to disable him for now and make our way for our new heroes, but we'll likely see him return in the future with some changes. Honestly, I didn't think Putricide was that bad. It's just demons don't have a cleave, if that makes sense. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Putricide's actually really good with the one demon early on that lets him transfer attack. Obviously, you just win early game. There's no beating Putricide if he happens to have that demon. Because what happens is he just overwhelms you on the board. And then, one minion gets buffed super big. And especially if it's like a 1/1 Divine Shield Taunt, that gets the buff, and then you're pretty much off to the races from there. He's also really good with cleave minions, like beasts, but there's just no other synergy outside of just giving your cleave a really big hit to try to one-shot something on the board. So yeah, Putricide will be interesting. I'm kind of curious what they're going to come back with. So we have some removed minions as well. The shielded minibot is gone. The Annoyotron is gone. Mounted Raptor, so no more 3/2, get a 1 cost minion. Phalanx Commander, not really that big of a loss. Psychotron, that one kind of hurts a little bit. There were some builds for Psychotron. Tortolans or Shell Razor, I don't think anybody was using Tortolans. Pilot Sky Golem, I'm a little sad to see go. I actually thought it was a pretty fun card to play. Fester Root Hulk, nobody was really using. Boogie Monster, I started using that with Tyrion. I'm a little sad to see him go, and the State of Thrustodon. So I guess that strategy for Murloc tokens doesn't work with Deathwing anymore. I don't think anybody was really using them. There was really no way to get him off the ground unless your War Leader survived. And you had the room for it. We're removing some minions to help make room for the new minions. We also want to balance out the minion pool a bit. For example, there were way more mechs in Battlegrounds than any other minion type. We're also removing some of the minions that aren't performing very well and ones that have been generally less exciting to play with. So yeah, they definitely removed a lot of mechs. So gameplay improvements and bug fixes. Speeding up animations from 0.8 to 0.2 across the board for all game modes for Overkill, Lifesteal, Poisonous, Inspire cards that reference whenever and after in the text outside of some special cases. Recruit will no longer be displayed on the turn timer when its player is about to lose Battlegrounds. Oh. So there was a bug in Battlegrounds where you could actually see the Recruit tab on the turn timer when you were going to lose, so it kind of ruined whether or not you were going to die that fight. Profound's hero power will no longer trigger a triple notification before you transition to the combat phase in Battlegrounds. Not sure what that means. Fixed a visual issue in which Golden Primalfin Lookout would sometimes display golden Murloc cards. Oh. It was probably more of a visual bug than anything else, yeah. Visual issue. Fixed an issue where the scoreboard would not sort players correctly on the first turn if they are conceded during the mulligan in Battlegrounds. Guessing that's if people AFK and they get random picked. Fixed an issue where the scoreboard could appear unsorted when reconnecting to a game in progress in Battlegrounds. And then this is just the arena rotation for anybody who's curious about arena. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this video. It's a big Hearthstone Battlegrounds patch. If you haven't played Battlegrounds in a while, I would definitely recommend checking it out. They've shaken the tiers up pretty big. There's been some pretty big changes to the playstyle for Battlegrounds. They pretty much got rid of a lot of mechs, make room for the dragons. And it's going to be interesting to see which archetype comes out on top. I do think that losing the Boogie Monster kind of hurts Tyrion a little bit, because Boogie Monster was a fun card to triple, and then he was pretty much the token destroyer. It was pretty interesting to see how high you could get him in one fight. But anyway, if you haven't played Battlegrounds, go check it out. The new patch is live. It's going to be a fun time. That's where I'm going to be. If you guys want to come check out the stream, I'm going to be live there now. It's 3:41 a.m. on the East Coast. It's 2:27. So come hang out with me. I'm going to be playing Battlegrounds pretty much for most of the day. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of the changes down below. Are you guys interested in any of these? Are you guys excited for the Dragon archetype? Be sure to like, favorite, comment, subscribe if you like the video. And yeah, I'll be back with another video, probably talking about the Overwatch changes, because it's a big patch day for Blizzard. Later.